Please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Please call the roll.
Councilwoman DeGroot. Councilwoman Hayner. Supervisor Quigley.
Here.
Councilman Secreto. Councilman Van Cleek.
Thank you very much and welcome to the Town of Ulster Town Board meeting for Thursday, September 19th, 2024. Are there any additions or changes to the agenda? Are there any individuals here tonight who would like to make comment on the agenda items? Thank you very much. Communications?
No communications.
Before we start the agenda, I would like to make a statement in relation to the article in the Freeman that disclosed the cyber incident that hit the town on September 11th. We have three computer systems operating, three networks operating within the town. In this building are the police department's server setup, the general administrative setup supporting the water, sewer, and highway departments, as well as the building department and the assessor's office, and the justice court's computers. At 7 o'clock on the 11th of September, we were notified not to turn our computers on as our main server downstairs had been penetrated, and we were unclear as to what the situation was. We were assured that the police department's computers were intact and had no security risks, but since we do not control the court computers, we did not have any idea. So I asked the judges to shut the computer system down for the first couple of hours in the judges' offices and notify the Office of Court Administration until we could understand better what was going on. The town has cyber insurance, immediately notifying the required agencies, including Ulster County Emergency Management, Ulster County Information Technology, the City of Kingston, both the mayor's office and their tech officer, as well as our bank. We shut off our banking capabilities immediately. We notified New York State Homeland Security in accordance with the regulations They notified the FBI, who I've had several conversations with over the last several days. And we engaged Booz Allen Hamilton through the law firm of Mullen Coughlin to come in and do network recovery, which has been completed. We are in the process of recovery right now, which means restoration of backups and replacing the data that has been lost. An investigation continues. We are not at this point in time able to conclusively point to where this attack came from and how it was carried out. There's a lot of evidence being analyzed. As of this afternoon, we get granted access to Booz Allen Hamilton to the Gmail server, and they were scrubbing emails for the last 3 weeks to see if there's anything present in the email system that may cause harm going forward, as well as giving indications of what happened during the attack. At this point, I would ask the department heads just to make general comment on how this event has affected their office. We'll start with the last row on the left side, my left side of the room. So Mr. Tutt. Mr. Tutt.
Advisor board members, it has been an interesting week to say the least. The only plus is the fact that my office backs up everything on paper. So I do have paper copies of everything that's been issued back to the beginning of the department. Moving forward, to generate permits and closing documents, with much help from the town clerk, we found a workaround since our main system that we process everything on is still not active. So we have found multiple workarounds to keep the department moving forward. And all my reviews are done on paper copy. I haven't moved to electronic age for permit reviews. So currently functioning as well as we can.
Business is normal.
Business is normal.
So everything can be scanned in from how far back? And have you been doing paper copies since day one that you've been here?
Since before that,
Really?
we've had,
Where are all these documents, paper copies kept?
the 26 or 28 file cabinets in my main office and the 9 horizontal cabinets in my office.
So these can all be scanned in and put into the system if needed.
If needed, you volunteering?
Oh, I did a lot of scanning. I can help, but I will not.
There's a
volunteer
lot.
for it. But there's got to be a lot, and you would have to oversee some of it or someone from your department.
The fact that I still have access to it, and we've been keeping paper records of inputted, so we have ledgers. So we can go back historically and figure out what permit position for this location. We still have access to parcel bureau, so we can, everything in our office is SPL driven. Second
Which is
slot.
great. That's a great thing, especially in this case like this. I just wonder if our valuable items are, our valuable papers are up to snuff in the insurance policy, because that's something that's invaluable, just so you know. That's great to have. Good job.
Okay. Anything else?
Chief Berardi.
Good evening, Town Supervisor, Town Board. First, I'm glad the police department is separate from the town hall. Second, we were not directly affected by it. Operations were maintained. We did have a brief interruption in our records management system, which is overseen by the county on September 12th. Based on misinformation, information services for the county had received. We went into our continuous operation mode, which is we go to handwriting, obviously, because our records management and CAD system, which is our dispatch system, was not operational. County 911 took over, was inputting all the calls for us, so we didn't miss any data. And then by the next shift change, which is 4 p.m., we were back up and running and connected. At no time did we lose any data. We've been fully operational since the onset of this and continuing.
Is blotter entries made by the system itself?
blotter entries are inputted by the dispatcher. So any call that goes in our CAD system is county run. So basically a county call and a 7-digit call that's inputted by our dispatcher can be shared. So we can both view the same call. At that time, the county was inputting all our calls for us.
So it's all there in case.
So
we
it's
need
all
it.
there, so we can backtrack for records.
And have you been talking to Homeland Security and the FBI?
I did speak to New York State Police, because some of our records, meaning tracks, which is our, tickets and our, accidents is connected through, the state police,
Mhm.
as well as our e-justice portal, which is our criminal histories. They called us after receiving, word that we were affected and wanted to make sure our connection, wasn't jeopardized. IT had spoken to them directly with me, reassured them that we were separated from the rest of the town and there was nothing to be alarmed about. They were satisfied with our responses to that and continued our service
And how often do we have to do reports to the FBI and Homeland Security
relative to what?
to the cyber issue
We,
that we have?
we didn't make any reports. Town supervisor's office made the reports to the federal government on that.
Okay,
So in response to that question, the lawyers that were hired by the town as well as the consultants indicated that the process that the FBI follows in an instance like this, where there is a professional firm such as Booz Allen Hamilton conducting a forensic investigation, is that the law enforcement agencies allow the forensic study to be completed by the independent consultants, and they will communicate all the information to the appropriate law enforcement agencies if they come up with information that can support criminal charges. As it was stressed to us, in many instances, incidents like this do not contain enough evidence to support criminal charges, let alone be able to identify a perpetrator. And in fact, when I spoke to the district attorney last Thursday night, he begged me to let them prosecute the perpetrator, but quite frankly, I'm not sure I'm understanding how the Ulster County District Attorney is going to affect somebody in Asia. Any questions additionally any comments on the fueling situation?
thank you, Chief.
Yeah, I'm giving you a chance to crow. Yes,
Oh, I have no comments, sir.
you were unaffected because you plugged your car into the wall.
Yes. No fuel shortages for myself. I can assure you that.
Thank you. Mr. Petramwall.
It did affect the highway department. My secretary happened to be off for the last 2 weeks. So she had a big surprise when she came in on Monday and realized that we had no computers. Everything was black. We still worked every day. We still did what we had to. The only biggest impact we had was that at the time of it happened, we lost all our databases for the programs that we have for our work orders and for job reports. That's slowly coming back. We got everything back up to, I think, 2022. So the last 2 years, we don't have right now, but hopefully we can get that back as things progress. I'd probably say the biggest impact on us was the fuel system. Everybody fuels up at the highway garage, all the other departments, several fire departments, town police. So right now they're all purchasing via credit card. So we're hoping to have the fuel system up and running tomorrow. Hopefully, and then we're pretty much back to normal and going on vacation, and I hope it's all better when I come back.
Do we get a discount on our fuel since we're buying such a large amount?
Not on the credit cards that we have.
I'm just asking with Citgo, you do. My husband does.
They're generally the credit cards for emergency purchases.
Right, for only,
gas.
right.
You know, we didn't realize, I don't think we got them to get gas. We got them so we can get parts online or
Got it.
that way, but we're looking into, the supervisor's looking into the Wix cards. It's for fueling. So
Wix?
this happened, that's the name of the company. that-
WEX Bank.
It's fuel.
So it would, when you do it, doesn't charge the tax, so you don't have to go back and try to get.
Oh,
But yeah, I would say that we depend too much on the computers.
that's what Warren
Really
thinks
do.
too, and that's why he does everything on paper.
We have paper too, but when it's black, you can't do nothing.
Right.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Petremont. Is
Enjoy
Mr.
your vacation.
Majori here? Miss Reedy? Yes.
Save Toshka for last because hers is probably the most extensive. It's been an interesting week. The town clerk software, which is, we use BAS, and we've been manually writing receipts and keeping track of all the transactions so that when our system is back up and running, we're going to manually enter all the transactions to keep us up to date. We have an appointment tomorrow at 11:30 with a tech at that company to reinstall that software with a backup. We thought we were going to lose everything, but we do have a backup that does not go back that far. Laserfiche, which is our digital filing cabinet for all town records, was restored this afternoon. And there's tax collection software. Luckily, we are not in the middle of tax collection. That's still not functioning, but we are working with IT to restore it next week. Luckily, our emails and our town website have not been affected. So a lot of documents that we cannot access now, I'm finding in emails that I've sent to, town board or other people. So luckily documents are found there. So, and we keep financial records and backups, hard copies that we retain those for 7 years. Right now, I can't access any town clerk reports digitally, but we do have hard copies that go back 7 years. So thank God for that.
And the Laserfiche file count on recovered documents.
I wasn't sure how many documents were in our Laserfiche, but I was most concerned about, we scan documents, we scan contracts and bids and bonds and things, but I was most concerned about our historical records that go back to the 1800s. But I mean, Bruce Berger, our historian, the beginning of the town, roads, deeds, things like that. But they're all restored, and we were told that there's over 1 million documents in Laserfiche that are recovered. So I'm very happy about that.
And the tax collection system, just to be clear, does not impact any of the town's operations. It merely is an archival system to be able to.
Yeah, right now, since tax collection is over, we're just getting phone calls from people asking for copies of tax bills, confirmation of payment, if there's a closing or a refinance. And we're able to refer them to Ulster County Department of Finance, who has those identical records.
Thank you, Ms. Reeby. Okay, my left and my right hand, it's your turn.
Good evening, everybody. Where to begin? So as Supervisors Quigley said, September 11th in the morning, we got a phone call that we had been compromised. Coming into work, first things that we did, as Supervisor Quigley said, was call the bank, New York State AG, Ulster County IT. The list goes on and on and on. We were continuously on the phone in the morning. Getting to the work that we need to continue to do and how we're doing that. Supervisor Quigley and I have been working side by side, figuring out how to conquer accounts payable, getting all of our vendors paid on time, making sure our payroll is going to go out on Monday, and he's been working with Peggy doing that. Payroll's on time, vendor payments have been on time. We've created a manual process. Checks are still being put through the printer, but we had to work through a spreadsheet and a Word document to make a template. That's all being done. Our deposits are being brought to the bank. I have yellow binders keeping everything from September 11th to current that has not been entered into our financial system in a separate area in those yellow binders, knowing that they have to be entered as soon as we get our financial system up and running. I think one of the things that we have been keeping track of are any deficiencies that we may have working in the financial system in our office. God forbid this ever happen again. How do we make sure that we're totally prepared as we can be? We do have all of our documents from 7 years as well. All by law, we have to keep them 6 years, and I believe the town does plus the 1. Just as the county does. So we do have our backup. It may take time to get into our system, but I have no doubt that we will get there.
This afternoon, the town's insurance carrier agreed to allow and pay for the activation of the financial accounting system in the cloud at the vendor's location. KVS will be hosting our enterprise system going forward. They will be restoring a data set that they had in their possession from December of 2023. And they have been provided the electronic records for all of 23 and all of 24 through the end of August for the general ledger package so that they can import it back into the data set that they have to bring us current. And the only thing that we will be having a gap in relates to the accounts payable system. We will not have access to the vendor invoices, which we have in paper form for the period from the date of the last data set through 9/11. And as Tosca said, this is a daunting task, and we've been moving forward on it at a slow pace. The most critical departments that have been hit in this instance are the water and sewer departments. Ms. Circusano was in the middle of a quarterly billing cycle for about 2,500 water accounts that are hung up. We have all the data from the meter reading. We have put in place a workaround, and Kate is manually billing the water bills. And we have completed 1.5 districts, not a lot of bills, but we have proof of concept. It will work. It will take some time. And our vendor for our software should be back from a trip to Europe sometime next week. And we will be discussing with him electronic means of updating the database using the paper records through an Excel import program. So that concludes the report that I have and the town department heads have for the community on the impacts on the cyber event that we have suffered. Moving on to new business. In our package is the last official town clerk's monthly report from the old system. There is nothing to report, so I asked for the town to make a motion to accept the report for the minutes. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye, thank you. The second item is a motion for the supervisor to sign the engagement letter with Mullen and Coughlin, and I will clarify, this was signed last week at the insistence of the insurance company to protect the town. So I ask for a motion to ratify the supervisor's execution of this agreement. So moved. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. The next item is a motion to authorize Matt Sabia of the Assessor's Office to attend the 2024 New York State Assessors Association Fall Conference, September 23rd through 26th, Fairport, New York, and expend $1,133.30, which has been budgeted. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving to old business. First item is a resolution granting a special use permit for Sage Cannabis, 268 Forest Hill Drive, Kingston, SBL 48.13-3-16.100. This is a retailing location for cannabis. Under the town's law, it requires a special use permit. So I ask for a motion to accept the resolution as presented. Do I have a second? Calling for a second?
I'll make a second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Roll call, please. Can we do both? Thank you. Roll call.
Yes.
Yes.
No,
Motion to accept the resolution, and the resolution is adopted 4-1. Thank you. The next item is a resolution granting a special use permit for the joint cannabis dispensary 1221 Ulster Avenue, Kingston, SBL 48.7-1-24.100. This is the same circumstances as the prior resolution. May I have a motion to accept the resolution as presented?
I'll make that motion.
And I have a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Sure. Councilwoman DeGroot,
Yes.
Councilwoman Hayner. Supervisor Quigley,
Yes.
Councilman Secreto, Councilman Van Cleek.
no,
Could you read the votes back for me, please?
Sure. Councilwoman DeGroot, yes. Councilwoman Hayner, no. Supervisor Quigley, yes. Councilman Secreto, yes. Councilman Van Cleek, no.
Motion to accept the resolution is passed 3-2. The next item is the presentation of a resolution granting access to the town video camera systems to the town of Ulster Justice Court. As you heard during the discussions of the pre-meeting, we recently had a request to put a resolution on the floor. This is a resolution that has not had adequate time to be reviewed by the town board members. And it's being presented here tonight to give the town board members ample opportunity to investigate the resolution, discuss it, and talk to the parties involved. The next and final item on our agenda is a resolution awarding the contract for the site lighting improvements at the Orlando Street softball field. About a month ago, the town went out to bid on the set of specifications that the town's electrical and civil engineers put together for the replacement of the poles, the electrical distribution system, and the lights at the Orlando Street softball field. Advertisements were run. 3 bidders pulled the plans. Only 1 bidder responded. That was J&J Sass in the amount of $159,000. So I ask for a motion to accept the resolution as presented, awarding a contract to J&J Sass Electric of Kingston in the amount of $159,000.
second,
Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Van Cleek, I know this is not on the agenda, but we had a very important meeting the night of September 11th. I believe the community would be interested in the discussions that took place about the EMS services.
oh, yes, okay.
We were there.
Yeah,
You're gonna tell them you are.
yeah.
Yeah.
Everett Erickson from the county emergency services pulled together a meeting with representatives from the town of Hurley, the town of Rosendale, the town of Kingston, and the town of Ulster, along with members of the county emergency services. And we had a discussion regarding the concerns that we all share with the ambulance service. And we had been advised at earlier meetings that the county was concerned that if the towns in our region were to go independently, that it had the potential of causing a deeper problem than we are in, potentially in now. So what we talked about was the opportunity to consider going out for joint services for ambulance services. That would be level 1 and level 2. Level 1 meaning they have an EMT on the ambulance, and level 2 not having an EMT. So it was a cooperative discussion, and from what I understand right now, the town of Ulster, we are interested because we called the meeting. town of Hurley is interested, the town of Kingston is interested, and the town of Rosendale is in consideration. The fire departments within the town of Rosendale will be meeting with the town of Rosendale supervisor to discuss the concerns they have, to try to come together with some kind of an agreement. So we're trying to move on this quickly because, well, I don't want to say quickly, sounds like we're rushing it. We're trying to move on this in a timely manner. It's unfortunate that in our case, a computer incident came up, which has taken a huge amount of time away from the supervisor and others in the office, but the rest of us we all together will continue to work on this because we do see this as a significant matter, but we do believe, we being the town board, in our demonstration of going to that meeting, that we believe a cooperative effort with the adjoining towns, that being, again, Hurley, the town of Kingston, town of Hurley, and the town of Rosendale, with us, the four of us together, make a geographic area that could well be served in a joint effort. The city of Kingston is not part of that, but they have also expressed support that if we all do join together, that they would be under mutual aid, would be able to be of assistance to us. So I thought it was a great step forward. Oh, and what's that? Oh, yeah, the county, yeah.
I like the idea that we started.
Yeah, the county is all about regional. Is that wasn't the things we talked about, that they say that it's near impossible to do a countywide EMS system right now. So they said that if we do it regionally now and doing a step program, that over time, it would make it easier then to have ultimately someday a countywide EMS service. So.
Thank you, Mr. Van Cleek. At this point, that concludes our agenda for tonight's meeting. I'm pleased to open the floor to general comments from any members of the audience before we go to executive session. Please, Ms. Sanders.
Hi, Caitlin Sanders, Town of Ulster resident. Recently, neighbors filled out a survey about their top concerns. I've drilled those down to themes and will speak about 3 of them tonight in order of priority and address the others at a later date. Based on the town inspector's comment last week that Central Hudson will be filing for their certificate of occupancy soon, we have questions on issues of safety, either not addressed or rectified thus far. These are our 3 questions. Number 1, will Central Hudson be replanting all of the trees that are not only plotted in their approved site plans, but were presented to the public as a 150-foot lush border around the site's perimeter to mitigate noise, light, and runoff to our neighborhood? I refer you to the public plans and documents that exist on Central Hudson's Training Center website and invite you to contrast those visually with the current on-the-ground conditions. Number 2, as you know, we met with Brett Alone about our concerns over the shared site pond with Central Hudson and the additional overflow once they expand. They have promised the community additional plantings to try and mitigate their runoff impact. Although we've been lucky this year with one-off weather events, the risk for multi-day storms, saturation, flooding, and freezing increases every year. The fact is that the site pond still has issues even before Brett Alone's project starts or is complete, and Central Hudson has admitted their retention basins don't work. How will Central Hudson be readdressing their site or the pond's infrastructure to mitigate overflow and flooding northward towards our homes? And number 3, CSX train engineers have referred to the section of the track from the site pond up to our homes as mushy. Their own engineers have acknowledged that Central Hudson proceeded to deforest 23 acres without addressing the inadequate infrastructure to handle their additional runoff under the CSX tracks. What will be done by Central Hudson to take responsibility and to assure us that this additional runoff will not precipitate a train derailment in our front yards? Per the town board's policy, we do not expect nor do we wish to engage this evening, but rather request verbal or written responses at the next meeting. Yeah.
Yeah, just email. Go ahead.
Hi, Linda Fallon, 318, Mary. This is about my next door neighbor, Mr. Viviani. I have some questions and some comments. I could leave it to the clerk and on it and get it now. I understand that the camps were commercial use in a residential zone by special permit. Is the special permit still valid? Mr. Quigley, when I asked you at town meeting a few months ago, you emphatically assured me that the special permit on the commercial use no longer existed, that it had expired. In that case, then why is Mr. Vianney busy working on the cabinet since he received his 30 days to respond to the court action that condemned 2 cabins? What were Mr. Viviani's choices as to how to respond to the 30 days? Mr. Viviani responded by rushing to finally do the work. Was Mr. Viviani informed that his special permit for commercial use expired? And most likely, he was not. We can only assume the town must have a plan, issued permits for the current ongoing construction. And that is being supervised by the building department with approvals before the construction is covered up. We care because we live next door and will personally suffer if the site is detrimental to the value of our home or the use is a menace. We can't know because no one will be straight with us to tell us what is going on. There are too many contradictions. I don't think we're alone in not trusting Mr. Viviani to make the right choices without supervision. I looked at the zoning code on Article 11 regarding special permits for non-conforming uses. It said the proposed use shall be located, sized, and then of a character that will harmonize with the orderly development of the area in which it is located. It shall not be detrimental to the site or adjacent properties. Buffers, open spaces, or restrictions on operations may establish as a requirement for approval if a special permit has been approved, which we don't know. Well, all I know is there's a lot of construction going on. That's all I know.
Thank you very much.
I have pictures that I'd like to hand out, if that's possible.
Please.
We only have 3 sets, so 2 people, one can go there, one can go to Mr. Quigley, and one can go on that side. Thank you very much. My name is Joyanne Simmons, and I also live at 318 Glen Eyrie. I'm sure you're tired of seeing us, but there's nothing we can do. Ever since there has been he bought the property in 2019. After 2021, after COVID, he has been using it as his building dump site for his materials. When we came here to ask what we could do about it, we were told that it would be looked into. That was 3 years ago. We were given answers to placate us. We were told they couldn't serve him because they didn't have an address or he was in Italy. We found his address online that night. He has been working on the cabins for the last few weeks. Still no building permits displayed, plus it is now categorized residential. So why is he working on more than one cabin? Let's see. Plus, the other day we called the police because he has been burning all his building materials. Those cabins are 95 years old. There's probably lead on every single piece of paint that's on those cabins. He has, if you look at the pictures, he has the backs of some of the cabins completely torn out. Those walls that he's building, I have no clue what he's doing with that. He has scaffolding on the back of another building. He's working on 4 buildings. I don't know why, because is a residential area and he should only have 1. So anyway, the day that we called the police,
I just had my knee replacement. I was out walking. He passed me going very fast and I had to jump into the gutter. And he almost hit me with his side view mirror. And then he says to us, oh, what about being good neighbors? And so I confronted him about that. I confronted him about him almost hitting me, and he never denied it. So, and he told us a while back that he'd have our house before he was done with us. So I'm just tired of coming here. It's getting ridiculous. And I've never seen, sorry, but I've never seen the building inspector there. I've never seen a permit on, and you're supposed to display them. Linda's worked for architecture for 25 years. She knows all the rules. None of the rules are being followed at this place. And he has a fire going now, and he's not there. He left. So we're just frustrated. I mean, this was supposed to be our retirement home, and I'm thinking about going. He's going to win. This is ridiculous. So that's why I have to
Mr. Kovacs, we have a lawsuit against Mr. Viviani in New York State Supreme Court at the present time. Are there any motions we can make to prod the process along in light of his outright
Yes, so we commenced a lawsuit last month. We served Mr. Viviani, and I believe the time has expired. He has not responded or answered the complaint. So we will file an order to show cause. And I just want to stress the goal of the order to show cause is to get a court order, as we've done many times before, authorizing the town to clean up the property and or demolish the structures in the property. That's the goal. Once we get that court order, then it's the town has a decision to make as to what steps to take to clean up the property.
So
But
can I ask the building department to prepare the same type of documentation that we prepared in East Kingston for the burned out church, given the unsafe building conditions, so that Mr. Kovacs can take it to the Supreme Court for the order that he referred to? Thank you. Are there any additional questions here? Any comments? Seeing none, I ask for a motion to proceed to executive session for collective negotiations pursuant to Article 14 of the Civil Service Law. Do I have a second? All those in favor? Aye. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. We'll see you next week.